this is Iron Sharpens Iron, and I'm here with a good buddy of mine, Will Whitlow, with Community Matters Cafe. How are you doing this morning, Will?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Chris.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's been a pleasure being a member. I feel like this is like a club here in Charlotte, the cafe, and I come here religiously almost every day, just banging out work and getting to know a lot of different people, and so thank you for running an establishment that is welcoming to all, and
Absolutely.
thank you for
Absolutely.
just providing such great service, right?
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Community Matters Cafe and what is all involved here.
Absolutely. So Community Matters Cafe is a social enterprise owned and operated by Charlotte Rescue Mission.
Okay.
So first I would have to explain Charlotte Rescue Mission to you.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, there's a lot to it, but in a nutshell, Charlotte Rescue Mission is a Christian residential nonprofit drug and alcohol treatment facility.
Okay.
There's a men's program named Rebound, and there's a women's program named Dove's Nest.
Okay.
Both those programs are residential and they're 4 months. Once the residents graduate that 4-month program, they will have an opportunity to join us at the cafe and our life skills program. And they will learn every aspect of the restaurant industry, whether it be your baristas, your servers, your cooks, your hosts. But what they're really doing is they're learning life skills.
Okay.
They're learning how to handle high-stress work environments, get along with your coworkers, balance a budget, get up for work on time.
Okay.
Some skills that they may have lost along the way in their addiction. When they've graduated the full program, they will have just about a year clean and sober, and then we offer a 2-year aftercare program for them, which includes job placement, recovery, living, and other supports of that nature.
Okay. Now, with the recovery program, have you seen people go through the program and come back? Like how successful is the program that you currently are running?
I'm glad you asked. That's a great question. So our success rate is 86%.
Okay.
So that means that in 6 months after a resident graduates, we check in with them, and not only is that resident or graduate clean and sober, but they are employed and they have a safe living environment. And that's what North Carolina says is a success. So we have an 86% success rate, which is more than double the national average. And I believe that is because, yes, we have great counselors, yes, we have great programs, but ultimately we're a Christian organization and we put God first in everything we do, and we like to give God the credit.
I love that. Yeah, and it definitely shows here, right?
Yes, sir.
With all of the different people that come here, there's a lot of money that flows in and out of here as far as people. I think the Bank of America CEO comes in here sometimes.
This place is a who's who. You never know who you're going to meet here, that's for sure.
Yes. And so I think just having that opportunity to be around individuals who are succeeding at that level, to be able to have conversations and understand, like, hey, we are all human.
Absolutely.
We've all been somewhere. We've all made some error in judgment, possibly, to where the tide could be different, right? Like, I could have been sitting on the other side of the table and hoping that someone would show me grace as well. Right?
When you walk through the doors of Community Matters Cafe, it doesn't matter if you are the president of Bank of America or if you are our Amazon delivery man. Everybody is the same here. We're on a level playing field. We came here to enjoy good food, good coffee, fellowship, and spread the word of hope and recovery.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about how you were able to come across Community Matters Cafe, and obviously you run the show here. You're the head guy in charge.
I'm a small part of a big thing. But so I myself am in recovery. I have a little over 3 years clean and sober.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. I've been in the restaurant industry my whole life. I've done everything from dishwashing to some management. So when I got clean and sober in 2019, I started working fine dining, but I was working nights, I was working weekends, holidays, not always the lifestyle conducive to recovery.
Makes sense.
And then I got married, and that's really not a lifestyle conducive to marriage. So the opportunity presented itself here at the cafe, where I get to use both my skill sets, my restaurant knowledge and my recovery life, it all melted here in this sweet spot here at the cafe. So this place is really incredibly special to me. It's the dream job for someone like myself.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, and you're here almost every time I'm here, right?
Yes,
I know my men's group meets here Thursday mornings, and thankfully with Ed Price, who helps run this facility as well, right? He's one of the head honchos here.
He's top dog, yes sir.
And so I'm grateful for Ed, and even giving us this opportunity to sit down and share the story of Community Matters, and really spread the message of what all is happening here, because I think it's a lot bigger than what people actually realize, right?
Absolutely.
There's touching on those programs. Share just a little bit more about, how impactful this really is for the community here.
Absolutely. So at the cafe, and I need to remind myself of this daily, being a lifelong restaurant person. Yes, we are a cafe. Yes, we're a restaurant. We have great food. Johnson Wells-trained chefs. Some of the best atmosphere, location. We were ranked #1 on Open Table for best cafe in Charlotte, and all that's great. But what I have to make sure everyone knows and remind myself all the time is that we're a mission first and a restaurant second.
Okay.
We are here to serve those our students that come and work for us, and to change their lives so that they can do the same for others in the future. I would say one of the biggest things that we do is giving our students an opportunity. They have gone the last 10, 15, 20 years being through addictions, being through incarcerations, being homeless, and for someone to give them a job, an opportunity, a responsibility. You'll see them day one. Some of them have a hard time even looking you in the eye and taking an order. They feel not worthy, they feel not good enough. And then just after a few months of working, they're #1 top dog server on the floor. Their smile just as big as day. They're looking you in the eye. They know a customer's order. They're a regular, and the change is phenomenal to see what happens to these students.
So building that confidence, right?
Absolutely.
We understand how important it is to look each other in the eye and converse.
That's correct.
But when you have gone through difficult times, which we all do, your confidence is shattered, right? And so I love that there's a program here that is really starting fresh, clean slate. Let's build this foundation on solid ground, so that way once you do get out, you have the tools necessary to help you along the way.
Correct.
I also love that you guys follow up with your graduates, right? I think that's very important. I know that there are programs out there that could be much better if they did have a follow-up process.
Absolutely. Hardly a day goes by where we don't have a graduate come back in for a cup of coffee to say hello, say, hey, I got my first apartment today. Hey, I got promotion at my job today. The free coffee helps. They come in for the free coffee too, but we love to see them. They love to show us how they're doing, and keep continuing on that message of spreading the hope that we talked about.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the addiction route and the recovery route? We mentioned in our discussions before we started filming about how important it is to stay grounded, how important it is to not look into the future and live there, but live in the present, because that is a part of the recovery process. Can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. In recovery, there's a saying, one day at a time. And that means staying in the present, staying in the moment. Fitness is a big part of my recovery, trail running specifically. And so when I hear stay in the moment, stay present, I automatically think of running a trail. So when I'm running a trail, I have to stay present, I have to stay in the moment, I have to be looking at my feet. I have to be looking out for roots, rocks, snakes,
Yeah.
what have you. Because if I start looking ahead into my future and worrying about what might happen, that probably won't even happen, or I start looking in my past about mistakes or failures, then I'm not looking down at what's at my feet and what's in front of me, and I'm going to trip and I'm going to fall every time.
Wow.
And that's the same way with recovery. If I'm not focused on me and what I'm doing today, if I'm worried about tomorrow or regretting the past, then I'm going to fall, I'm going to trip, I'm going to stumble in my recovery as well.
Right. Yeah, I think looking in the past never serves anyone, right? That's why
Right.
we don't have the rear view mirror is in the car only.
That's correct.
And it's very difficult to move forward, have goals for the future, know where you're going if you're constantly looking back there.
Absolutely.
And I think that being, we talked about being unbounded with your goals, with your dreams, but not ungrounded.
Absolutely.
Meaning being present, understanding, okay, this is my current situation. How do we get to the next level?
Absolutely. And the cafe is great at grounding our students' dreams. People come into recovery and they want to do all these great things, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But let's start off with getting up for work today and going to work and doing the best I can do today to serve my community, to serve others.
Yeah.
And we'll start with there.
Yeah. Yeah. One day at a time, one rep at a time.
That's right. One
phone
table at
call,
a time, one cup of coffee at a time.
Yes. And
sir.
I love that one more mentality.
Yep.
And if you build that habit of, hey, I showed up on time today. And I'm sure you have people that, that's their biggest struggle right now.
Absolutely,
and it's, I get it, right? I've been there.
Time takes time.
Time takes time. And so, but once you build that repetition, you get those reps in, the confidence I'm sure you've seen begins to, that area, like, I know how to show up on time now. What is the next step,
Yep.
right? Like, what is that next piece
Absolutely.
in my recovery and in my growth?
And it helps me just as much, if not more, as it helps the students, giving back and watching them grow and being a part of that, and the accountability it holds me to, because I can't ask them to be on time if I'm not early.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Leading by example.
Absolutely.
Someone
did it for me, that's all, and they will do it for someone else.
And that's literally what we look at believers as, right? Like as whether, no matter what your belief is, but as Christians, we are here to serve, right? And even when Jesus came, he was here to serve.
Absolutely.
And it's so easy to forget that, especially in life, because it's a lot of me, or we're taught that it's dog eat dog, and it's, look after yourself and no one else. But that long term is not sustainable for what we're here for, relationships, building a better world for the future, right? And actually bringing people together, love, right? I think that's a huge piece that is missing in society, but I feel that every time I come to Community Matters Cafe.
Absolutely. Well, then we've hit our goal. We've hit the mark.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. I mean, I see the word hope all around here. We restore hope. Tell me how Community Matters has restored hope in your life.
Absolutely. Like I said, being involved with the students, one, it reminds me where I came from, and it reminds me that we're all part of something bigger. Like you said, no matter where you're at in your spiritual journey, we all started somewhere.
Yeah.
And to see those students return after getting a job promotion or getting their first car, that for every one stressful moment, for every one hard day perhaps we had here at work, I can tell you 1,000 great stories, that just inspire me to keep coming back every day. And not just me, but everyone here at the cafe.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm just a small part of a big thing.
Yeah, that is it. And I love that. It's one, understanding that the world is much bigger than we are, right? I remember graduating from college thinking I was this big fish, and it was in such a small pond, but then when you got into the world, you're like, wow, like I don't know anything, right? Like this is kind of overwhelming. And but you learn, you grow, you adapt. The experiences you have had in your journey with your struggles with addiction, now being 3 years sober. Tell me, like, when you were in your darkest moment, what was it that said, enough is enough, Will?
So I believe in every addict, alcoholic's life, they face a crossroad where you literally have two options. You have to accept the help of God and others to recover, or accept death. That death may come quickly, or it may take years, and I know that's a morbid thing to say, but when you look at it, and when you've run out, and those are literally the two options that you have left, and I chose life. I chose to accept the help. I chose to become the person that God had in store for me the whole time.
Yeah.
And I now believe I was on that journey for a reason. All the hardships,
Yeah.
The tribulations that I went through,
Yeah.
were all to help the next person. I didn't know that then, obviously.
Absolutely.
But now I'm grateful for those things.
Yeah. It's perspective. It's much easier for me to listen to you if I know you've been there, right?
Absolutely.
And so I understand that completely.
Right.
I can only relate to somebody from a sense of, hey, you've gone through this, I've gone through this, I'm reaching out because I need help in this area.
Right.
And I love the fact that you have been on your own journey of recovery, that you're pouring back into the community here to serve, because this is what people need, right?
Yes,
and there's way more addictions out there than just drugs and alcohol, right? Like we know that.
Everyone has something.
Yeah.
Everyone has something.
Everyone has something. And so you have to really understand who it is that you want to become and where it is that you want to go, and look around you and ask yourself, is this association, is this environment going to allow me to get there?
Absolutely. We all have different problems, different addictions, different trials and tribulations, but we all have a common solution.
Yeah.
And that's God, that's Jesus.
Yeah. So, yeah. And let's touch on your faith real quick. Just, I know we've spoken about God and how important it is to be connected with the source. When you were struggling with addiction, and I feel like when you're going through addiction, that's something that is always a part of us, right? Like I've had my own story, my own battle, right?
Absolutely.
And it's something that you're working on daily to not be triggered, to consistently just build those daily habits and build that armor on. For me, when I was in my darkest places, I always knew like God was still with me, right? Regardless if I was thinking I was as far away from him as possible, he
Right.
never left. And so it was much easier for me to feel his grace, feel his presence when I did come back. Did you ever feel like you lost like that feeling or lost sight of faith, or how was that impacted in your journey?
That's a great question. So, mine's similar to yours. So obviously, addiction lifestyle and the spiritual lifestyle don't necessarily mix so well. So I guess you call it my default was to not acknowledge God. I pushed God as far down as I possibly could, even to tell people. I told people that I don't believe.
Wow.
Okay. And honestly, it wasn't because I didn't believe he was in there. I just crammed it down as far as I could, because I knew if I acknowledged God, then I was going to be held accountable for this lifestyle that I was living, and I just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
So when I did get clean and sober, then that huge piece was missing. He was in there, but I had to bring it back up. And I needed that accountability.
Right.
And I started going back to church, and something my pastor said at Vision Church here in Charlotte, it was nothing new, it was nothing groundbreaking. I'd heard it all before, but something this time it resonated differently with me. He said, God doesn't love us for who we are, but God loves us in spite of who we are. And that just like tore down like every last little bit of wall I had built up, you know, and boom, out, you know, God is like, I rededicated my life that day. And my life is, you know, hasn't been the same since.
I love that. I love once you got to a place where your you know, your mind was alert, your heart was receptive, you heard the same thing probably multiple times in your life, right?
Absolutely.
And it was that one moment that triggered it because you were ready.
Right.
And I wonder how many people are walking in that same fear of, you know, it's too difficult to come back right now, or it's too difficult because of shame or guilt, or I'll be judged, right? What do you say to those people that are struggling with those internal demons or those internal battles when you come back, when you've come back and recognize, man, I was making a mountain out of a molehill, essentially?
Yeah, gosh, you know, that's one of those things where you wish you could just take somebody and just shake them and just and show them the truth and show them the light, you know. You know, being the new creation that I am, all I can really do, I feel, or one of the most important things I can do is live my life every day to the best of my ability, doing the next right thing, to be an example that someone, you know, I've encountered people that there's just something, you know, there's something about that person, you know, maybe you don't know quite what it is, but you know they got something. Yeah. Whatever it is, they got something, and I want that something.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel that you can talk to someone often till they're blue in the face, but if they're not ready, they're not ready. But I can look at people that God put in my past that I look back on now and like, God put that person in my life for a reason. That person had something. That person taught me something. That person showed me something.
Right.
And maybe it took me for a while to get it.
Yeah.
You know, but I got it eventually. So just to be that person who is always ready, willing, and being that example for when they are ready.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Will, you are a true example of this community. You're a light, right?
I'm an example of what God can do.
And I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. It's the energy that you provide this place. It's the energy that everyone, just the foundation that you guys have built here. It is so inviting. I invite and encourage everyone to experience Community Matters Cafe.
Well, while we're talking about, if you don't mind, a shameless plug.
Yeah.
Community Matters, Uptown Charlotte, right behind Panther Stadium, 821 West 1st Street, 7 to 2 in the daytime, Monday through Friday. Come join us, please.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And social media, are y'all on Instagram? How can people
Absolutely,
follow?
Instagram, Facebook, follow us.
Okay, and it's just at Community Matters Cafe?
Yes.
Cool, perfect. Well, it's been a true honor, true privilege, man.
Thank you so much.
Like, thank you. I can't wait to continue to share this message of the cafe and get to know more people in the community. So,
for sure.
Thank you again.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we love y'all. Stay blessed.